the population. But also for every degree increase in the local area, we'll probably see an 8.5 to 10% increase in peak energy use as well. And that's a really big issue also economically, because we have just gone through a huge phase of investment in New South Wales. I think it's $12.5 billion in energy network upgrades, and that's because of peak energy demand rising because of air conditioning loads being increased. And so it was an interesting conversation here that you've got a hell of a lot of residential that traditionally have been naturally ventilated. It'd be really interesting to see as economic prosperity increases over the few years, whether people will go in and then retrofit those with air conditioning, and we'll go through maybe a similar scenario to what we have, where the peak energy demand goes up. And actually what's happened in the last couple of years is the average energy consumption has come down because of energy efficiency. So you actually end up having to pay more for your electricity because you've got more assets there, but less electricity going through the network. So big issue economically and environmentally, of course, and the greenhouse associated with all that energy use. We've also done aerial mapping. This is a heat-island map of the city at, I think it's like 10 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock at night, and you can see the radiating heat from the different areas of the city. The roadway, of course, black asphalt is always probably the worst part of that, and so you get a lot of heat gain from that. But I think a really interesting one for this, not to use us as a case study, but in Hamburg in Germany, we actually use this, and you can type in your address on a website, go down to your house, and if your house is radiating heat because it's coloured red in this, they'll actually eligible for an insulation rebate from if we get insulation for your house. So, these are the kind of thing with really good data, and that you can really get some great programs going. We're not there yet, but we're on that path. And taking a look at your book, we are really pushing for the canopy coverage target across the city, and this is a really major way of reducing the development impact in the city. And also, it's just a good thing to do. It's good for livability in the city, good for the housing prices in streets where there are beautiful big trees. Is always more valuable than the streets where they're not. So there's an economic driver, there's a livability driver, there's a climate change adaptation driver, and a peak energy demand driver. So there's a lot of reasons why we're growing up the city. And so we have set canopy coverage targets now for the city. Not as ambitious as yours, but getting fairly close. So this was the 10 directions that I talked about in Sustainable City 2030 before. We really just today concentrated on the leading environmental performance assessment, so the green part of that. If you want to know more, go to the website. There's a Sustainable City 20 website that explains a lot of actions around different stages. And with that, I think I'll finish up there. Thank you.
Interaction with that topic. This takes your name and organization before questions or comments.
Derksema, just had a question around how you handle the stakeholder engagement, especially when you're dealing with people like homeowners. I didn't really see too much of that before. Do you want to go into a bit more detail?
Yeah, okay. Look, engagement, it's a hugely broad topic. So we do engagement at a very high level for major strategies, and that's a very different looking engagement than we do for the projects that we're doing on the ground. So at the high level, one of the things that we have implemented over time is a thing called city talks. And these are public talks in the town hall. A couple of thousand people turn up. They're well advertised. We get international speakers and panels, and we talk, they basically talk on particular relevant issues on sustainability or economic or social or cultural issues. And that's one way we do a high level engagement on those. With the strategy specifically, we then take a sort of staggered approach. So we do stakeholder engagement plans for every major project in the city. So we have a project management process in the city. So any project over $60,000 or any project cross-functional across the council has to go through an executive steering committee. As part of that, you have to have a stakeholder engagement plan for that. And so, look, it's a very broad topic, but so with, I actually didn't talk about it, but the energy efficiency master plan that's one that we're developing now, and the reason we're doing it now is that when we started this process, a lot of energy efficiency was already being taken by many of the commercial buildings. So we're doing this now, and we know that we've got some experts in the industry. So what we've done for this one is that we've set up a stakeholder reference group, and we've invited 12 to 15 industry experts, and they're going to become a reference group all the way from the start of the project. So I've got them to review the scope of the project. I'm going to have a couple of them on the tender panel and the engagement consultant to help us. Then when the consultant comes in with the information, we're going to engage with them again. So we're actually really heavily involving them in the process all the way through, so that when the strategy comes out, we hope that that strategy will be well taken up and endorsed by the stakeholders. So that's one example. Power generation was a very different story. We trying to have a conversation about district energy in Australia was a really difficult thing probably a couple of years ago, because there wasn't a lot of knowledge and there wasn't a lot of expertise, and there was some strong opinions, probably not that well informed as well. So we actually took an approach to let's just do the work and do the analysis and really, spend the hours on getting the strategy right and bringing it to the surface. And so we took a very, we sort of brought it to the industry, then we had a conversation because we actually had time to discuss things. So it really depends on the topic and on the breadth of the issues and how we approach it. But look, it's one of the major cornerstones of the platform of how the Lord Mayor has been re-elected. She's really well known and respected for her ability to engage, and that's look, she got re-elected once with an even bigger majority than she did previously, and then again the second time, again for the same reason, and so she's a very well-loved politician, so mainly that reason, so her ability to engage, so that's important.
My name is Stephanie Richards, and I was a consultant for PSS before. My question was regarding, things like you've made some really dramatic improvements in your energy efficiency and your government bills. Have you done any cost benefit analysis to show how much cost savings you can achieve with your electricity bill as a result of the investments that you're making in your government bills? And where can we find that?
Yep. Look, we the energy efficiency we've taken was the journey had some major components. So the first, we started out doing our own projects. There was lots of low-hanging fruit. We engaged consultants to do an assessment of some of the buildings. We get a scope of work. We pull out a design construction company and they come in and do some of those work. That got us about 80% efficiency, and that was sort of the low-hanging fruit. We then decided, look, that's kind of getting beyond our expertise, and also we have a big enough portfolio to get economies of scale, so we then defined an output specification for an energy performance contract. So we said we wanted another 23% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions through energy efficiency across our portfolio. We put all our buildings in the portfolio, we just put a target in the tender, and we went out to industry basically and got an energy performance contract. Those works that are happening have just been completed towards the end of last year, and we're now going through the monitoring and verification of those works. So we're taking this in process. I would say that on the average across all of that, we have about a 6-year payback across that 6.5-year payback. That's probably the best indicator I can give you. And we are preparing more detailed information that we will have on our website soon. It's not there yet. As a whole, more detail about all the actions we undertook and the details of some analysis. Similarly with PV is probably a little longer. That's about 8-year payback. And the other one was the LED lights. And the LED lights is in the order of 7 to 8 years as well. So many of these sort of programs are in that kind of ballpark, 6 to 8 years. And that's because, some of the actions are really quick, 6 months payback from that time. But we did take a portfolio approach because we wanted detail. And that's the trick when if you just pick up a low-hanging fruit, you pick out all the stuff that makes the more difficult things look more attractive if you were to put them all together in a portfolio and look at them as a whole.